EDC enthusiasts, I'm Diener. Welcome to the channel, Genetic Modified Viking. Today we're going to do a drill down. Not a deep dive, just a drill down into the confusing world of Swiss Army knives. Everybody's heard of them, all right? Most people have them. If you don't have one, you got to get one. Phenomenal tools, phenomenal knives. They use a proprietary steel. It's a little bit softer than some of the other makers of multi-tools. As well as knives, but the advantage is it's easy to maintain, easy to sharpen, and they're extremely slicey. So like I say, you got to get one. And just to kind of narrow things down, I'm just going to kind of funnel down to what it is that I use and collect, and the reasons why. So you typically you've seen the tools where they've got the red scales, right? They're famous for those red scales with the cross on there and the shield. And the red is a plastic. It's a proprietary plastic, but it has a drawback. There's an advantage and a drawback. The advantage is that under the scales, it allows room for other implements, tweezers, a toothpick, and a pen. And the disadvantage is it's not very durable. If you drop it and it hits a sharp edge, it will crack. It'll bust. I've done it. And the other side, the other type, is what they call an Alox. And the Alox is their proprietary name for aluminum oxide. And essentially it is a coated aluminum product. Now they may put other metal in the aluminum to help keep the oxidation under control. I don't know, but that's their secret recipe. All I know is that's the one that I buy. One, it's thinner. Two, it's much more strong. So that's where we're going. So now we've gone from the plastic and Alox to just the Alox. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to switch to the top-down view, and that way you can get kind of a closer look at what I'm going to be talking about in the different models. So just bear with me here. We're going to switch to top-down. All right, now I'm going to move the microphone over and my chair a little bit. All right, here we go. So Swiss Army knife, Alox. And here it is right here. This is the Alox material. It's textured. It's grippy enough, but it's not too grippy. This is what they call the Swiss Army 1. It is a solo blade. And just something to notice, this is the identical frame and model that they use for what they call the Swiss Army 2, which the Swiss Army 2 has the same primary blade and a pruning blade. As you can see, they bend these just so slightly so that there's actually room in there for that pruning blade, which is kind of neat. But at any rate, it's pretty thin, very lightweight, and that is the single blade. This is very handy, very slim. You don't even notice it in your pocket. You forget it's even there. So this is the blade, very slicey blade. I have two of these. This is not my user here. I have a user, and then I have one that I'm just using to show for video. Anyway, that is the Swiss Army 1, or the Solo. Now, this is a 93 millimeter frame. That is 3.66 inches. It's a perfect size. They also make two other sizes. Here's the one. It's in the 84 millimeter. And as you can see, it is quite a bit smaller. Not significantly smaller, but smaller. But it's close enough, I guess, that if you're going to go this big, why not just go up there? And then they also make a 58 millimeter, which primarily is used for like keychain type multi-tools. Very small. This is kind of more my jam right here. But particularly the 93 millimeter, 3.66 inches. It's perfect. It's a perfect size. So I'm just going to put him up here. That is the Swiss Army 1 Solo. They make a Swiss Army 2. I don't have that. Not all of the Swiss Army knives are available here in the States. The Swiss Army 2 being one of them. If you want one, you have to order it overseas, which I have ordered one. I'm just waiting for confirmation that they did receive payment and that it'll be coming. But it's identical to this, except that it has the pruning blade. The pruning blade is like a hawk bill blade. and very useful for opening packages. And so that's that. So that's the Solo. There's the Swiss Army 2. There's a Swiss Army 6, and it's identical to my favorite, which is called the Electrician. And then it's identical to that, but instead of the Electrician blade, which I will show you, they have a pruning blade, which we will see in another model. But we're not going to cover the Army 6. I just want to make you aware of it, that there is an Army 6. It's been discontinued. They do that quite frequently. They discontinue models, and they become pretty difficult to get a hold of. If you want one, you got to buy it on the secondary. They're probably going for $150 plus. So at any rate, that's that. Now, this is what's called the Swiss Army 7. And they call it 7 because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it has 7 different tools in it. Same size. Everything is the same on this in terms of the sizing. It has the primary blade. It has the pruning blade. Now, this is the one that goes into the Army 2. This is that hawkbill pruning blade. This thing will rip through packages. It's absolutely incredible what this thing will do to boxes or opening packages. Also, they have the slotted screwdriver, cap lifter or bottle opener, and then that little notch right there at the base is going to be for the wire stripper, and it actually works pretty good. And then you have the reamer or awl, and then on the harvester, and kind of going along the lines of the theme, you have the saw. Now, for me, the saw is really kind of a useless implement. If you're carrying this around, I guess you're in the yard or you're in the shop, this might come into handy. However, if you're in the shop, you got plenty of saws. You have other types of tools if you're going to cut something. If you're in the yard, realistically, with a saw this big, you got a saw blade that's used to cut something that you could snap with your hands. So, in my opinion, the saw is kind of a wasted implement. So, but they do have that. Again, this is the harvester. So put him right there. Next is the Electrician, which is my favorite of the Swiss Army knives. Again, 93 millimeter. It's 2 springs. And if you look at the fit and finish, it's not anywhere near what it would be like for a GEC or some of the finer made traditional style pocket knives, but it's pretty damn good. Dollar for dollar, you can't beat a Swiss Army knife. But you'll see why this is my favorite. It has the reamer. It has the primary blade. And then it has the slotted screwdriver, cap lifter or bottle opener, the wire stripper. But here's the one that I like, and this is the Electrician's blade. And it has a sharp curved portion down here as well as that straight edge. It's like a sheep's foot. I really, really like it. And that does a great job on packages as well. This is my particular favorite. It doesn't have anything that you wouldn't need on a regular basis. Like, for example, the saw. The saw is really kind of a waste. This is an absolutely wonderful pocket tool. Next, you have what they call a Pioneer. Now, I'm going to move some of these out of the way. I'm just going to get rid of the one with the saw. The Pioneer is probably their most popular in terms of these overall models. But again, I think that the Electrician's got it beat. Once again, you have the reamer. You have the primary blade. You have the slotted screwdriver. Again, similar to identical so far to the Electrician. The cap lifter or bottle opener, the wire stripper. But what it has different, that in my opinion is kind of renders it a bit useless, and that is a can opener. There is a smaller slotted screwdriver tip there, but a can opener. How many times do you use a can opener where you're not in the kitchen and you just pull out a can opener? Now, if you're going to use this to go hiking or backpacking or something of that nature, if you're going backpacking, you don't have cans in your backpack. You have dehydrated food. And if you're going camping, you're not worried about weight. So if you're going camping, you've got everything else. So this is more along, you have all those things, right? The kitchen implements. So this is more along the lines of kind of a Boy Scout, a one night stay kind of a deal, where maybe you got a can of beans or something of that nature. But the can opener really is very similar to the saw blade in that it's not real practical in terms of like everyday carry kind of a deal. But anyway, that is the Pioneer. That's probably their most popular model of these. Next is the Pioneer X. Move these out of the way. Now the Pioneer X is identical to the Pioneer in that it has everything that you see here on the Pioneer, but then it has one extra implement, and that is the scissors. Now the scissors, the Pioneer or the Victorinox scissors, I'm trying to find the slot here, the nail neck. There it is right there. The Victorinox scissors are absolutely incredible. So this Pioneer X is the Pioneer, plus it has the scissors. Now, they do an absolutely phenomenal job. Leatherman, Gerber, and the rest of them just can't seem to get the magic recipe down in terms of scissors. And these are the absolute best. They're phenomenal. And the reason why, if you look, and I'm going to show you, if you look at the tip, notice how they're offset, that this is actually, this part of the scissors is bent. And what ends up happening is it has a spring action as it rubs up against this part of the scissors, and it pinches. And as it pinches, it holds the material in there. So it increases the pressure between the blades as well as holds the material against the blade as it slices. If you look at the Leatherman, the Gerber, or any of the other multi-tools, they don't have that. They're just two flat pieces of metal, and what ends up happening is as the scissors, as the blades come together, they separate, and the material gets lodged in between and gets pinched. This is the best design. I don't know why the rest haven't looked at this, and it's very simple. They're curved. It's a perfect design. So that is the Pioneer X, and it's easy to remember. X for the scissors, extra. Pioneer X. Next, I'm going to move him over here, is the Farmer. Now the Farmer is like the Pioneer, except that instead of the scissors, it is replaced with that saw, that useless, in my opinion, useless saw. So they're identical. The Pioneer X with the scissors, same implements. The Farmer has the same, except that it has the saw blade. So the Farmer is the Pioneer without the scissors and including the saw. To confuse things even more, they have what they call the Farmer X. The Farmer X has everything that you see here, and it's a combination between the Farmer and the Pioneer X. It's got everything. It's a 4-layer knife, 4-layer tool. It has the awl. It has the scissors. It has the saw blade. It has the can opener, as well as this small slotted screwdriver. And it has the large slotted screwdriver, cap lifter or bottle opener, and the wire strippers. This is a bit much. It's thick. It's big. I guess if you're going camping and you don't want a traditional Swiss Army knife that has the plastic scales where you have the toothpick and the pen and the tweezers and so forth, this would be kind of the catch-all for that type of a pocket multi-tool. So that is the Farmer X. Now, as I mentioned, in my opinion, anything with a saw blade can go away. It's not that important to me, although that pruner blade is really handy. So bottom line is, in my opinion, anything with a saw blade is off the table. And if it's got a can opener, it's off the table. So we're narrowing it down. And it all depends, in my opinion, what's more important to you. Another type of blade, which in this case is the electrician's blade. It's basically kind of a sheep's foot with a sharpened area here for cutting maybe the sheathing around the wire. So what's more important to you? Scissors or another blade? It is quite a bit thicker. The Pioneer X is 3 layers, whereas the electrician is only 2. In my opinion, this is the way to go, the electrician. If you're more of a knife blade enthusiast, this is the way to go. If you're wanting a pair of scissors, this would be the one to go with the scissors. So there you have it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring out some comparisons here, just so you have an idea of what the size comparison is with some of the other knives that we're familiar with. Here is the Solo, the Swiss Army 1, and then my favorite, which is the electrician. That's those, and then we'll just leave this little guy out here. I think this is called the Bantam. Leave him out there just for reference. But I'm going to bring out some knives that we're all familiar with. You've got the Pair 3. Here is the Civivi Elementum. I got to fix the detent on that. It's a little bit weak. But it gives you an idea. These are small knives. All right. Some would say they're the perfect size knife if you have smaller hands. And they are good knives, no question about it. But as you can see, the electrician as well as the Solo are smaller. So this is really kind of that sweet spot that you wouldn't want to go too much smaller. So we're just going to get rid of that 84 millimeter. And this is kind of where we're at, in my opinion. Now, those are pocket knife comparisons. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring over multi-tool comparisons. Here is the Wave Plus. This is my favorite multi-tool. I wish they would do things a little bit different. I've got some ideas, but at any rate, that's the one that I carry on a regular basis. The other one is this one right here, which is the Free T4. I'm not a big fan of the Free series, but I got this just to kind of check out. This is kind of Leatherman's answer to the Victorinox Arena, if you will. They do have a set of tweezers right here. And again, I mean, they're all right, but I mean, really? They have, the way the Free series works, their tagline is that you can do it all with one hand, and I guess it's true to some extent. I don't like how this pivot works with the frame of the knife. It's kind of clunky, but it does work. You can work everything with one hand, and it has various tools that you can work through. This does have the scissors. But again, here, look, I just want to show you on the scissors. Look at the blades. They're completely parallel. There's no arch in the blade, and these cut like crap compared to the Victorinox knives. So that's the comparison there. The electrician, in my opinion, is the way to go. Dollar for dollar, implement for implement, for the size, the room in the pocket, and everything that it brings to the table. The electrician is the way to go. I'm going to pull them out here again just so you can see. It's only 2 layers versus the 3 or 4 layers with some of the other Victorinox models. But there it is. The Victorinox electrician, in my opinion, the best one for EDC carry. So that's it. I'll switch back to the dual camera mode. There we go. Bring my microphone back over. So there you go. There's the Victorinox Alox series. If you have any questions, I'm not the expert on Victorinox knives. I got a number of them. I can share with you what I know. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below. And there's some other things that Victorinox does, like for example, the Pioneer being their most popular model, one of the most popular models. They do a limited edition every year where they'll come up with a different color scale on it. They have red, and they've got champagne, and there's various other colors, and they do one each year. And so I started collecting those. I think 2018 is when they started, and I have the most recent addition to the limited edition series, and I'll cover that in another video, and I don't want to confuse matters at this point. But at any rate, that's it. The Victorinox Alox models. Please like, please subscribe. It helps the algorithm, spread the channel. And check me out on Instagram. I got some really neat photos there, one of which will probably be some of the Alox models. So in the meantime, until the next video, this is Diener signing out, and catch you on the other side.